Joining me now is historian and editor of the Oldham Advertiser, Martin Purdy. Martin, welcome.
Hello.
And we heard a bit there about what happened at Peterloo and the way people are remembering it. What makes it so significant in terms of Manchester's history, but also the history of the evolution of democracy?
Well, it's crucial. I think somebody said on the report there that it was like the Tiananmen Square of the 19th century, and I wouldn't actually disagree with that. It really was the foundation stone of civilian protest for the right to vote, the end to laws that were really condemning people to poverty, to starvation. It ultimately went on to lead to Chartism, which became the trade union movement, and it even gave us the Manchester Evening News, because one of the businessmen who witnessed it, James Edwards Taylor, I should say, was so incensed by what he'd seen, the injustices and the horror of what he'd seen, that he was spurred to do something about it and decided he was going to start a newspaper, and it was the Manchester Guardian, which of course gave us the Manchester Evening News, which we know and love today.
And then latterly Channel M.
Yeah, quite, yeah, exactly.
But if it is so significant in terms of Manchester's history, but also nationally and internationally, why are we learning about it in primary school? Why isn't it on syllabus across the region?
It's a very good question, and I would have thought that, regardless of the past, certainly at this moment in time when we're so cynical about politics and getting people to vote is so difficult, that it really should have a resonance now like no time before, in that here is an example of what people did in order to get the vote. This was ordinary men, women and children who were sort of slaughtered in the streets of Manchester, who were just coming out peacefully to demand the right for a vote. And I think we forget what was gone before us in order for us to get to this point in our lives, in our society.
But you can sort of pass that area now, and aside from a small plaque marking where it happened, there's nothing, there's no permanent memorial, there's nothing to say that your forefathers did something great.
And there's been some wonderful work going on, which I think what we saw yesterday in Manchester to mark the anniversary, the 190th anniversary, is perhaps the start of something bigger. The City Council has agreed in principle to actually to build a monument. It's really now a question of what design that's going to take, and it will be somewhere, we think, in the area in front of GMEX, which was where the hustings was and where a lot of the worst of the carnage took place. And hopefully that can be the start of something that we can take into schools, and that will be there as a permanent reminder for people of what actually happened here. Do we know what form it would take? Well, this is something that's under discussion at the moment. I think the people who have been very active in the memorial campaign they're very keen that it should actually, it shouldn't be a sort of artistic, modern 21st century
abstract
design,
sort of,
exactly. They want something that's actually more direct than that, that's actually bears direct reference to the imagery of the events that happened
so
on
that it's
that
accessible, so school children are coming into the city to
they don't
understand what
want them
happened.
looking at sort of some fancy kind of spike coming out of the ground. They want something that actually depicts and captures the drama of the day itself. And it's quite Mancunian in itself that people won't let it go, that they're determined to make sure that it is remembered. It is, and I mean, there were some wonderful things. I was down there yesterday, and there are some chaps there who've actually written their own sort of whole drama, like a Peterloo musical, you know, which was wonderful. And they were using songs that go back over that they've passed down through the generations. So it's always remained there. It's always been sort of bubbling below the public consciousness. But I think that people feel that certainly with 10 years to go to the 200th anniversary, that it would really, it's very important that by 10 years' time we've got a memorial up there, and we're looking at getting something more onto the syllabus. It's certainly of the schools in Greater Manchester, if not across the country. Across the country, absolutely. Yeah. Martin Purdy, thank you very much. It's a pleasure, thank you.